Hello everyone, welcome to another disused railway explore. I'm in the city of Derby, just on the outskirts. I'm walking on the Great Northern Greenway. Behind me, you'd be walking towards Nottingham. You'd be getting to Retracing station. That's the first one behind me. And you carry on this way, goes all the way through Derby, out the other side, and then it joined up at Egerton Junction. That was the Great Northern Railways Derbyshire and Staffordshire extension. Now behind me, that part, you can walk that, and to be honest, if you don't mind getting your legs stung, you can kind of come on and off and get pretty much all the way to the outskirts of Nottingham. Once you get to the other side of Derby, you get to Mickleover Station, what was Mickleover Station, and you can follow that all the way as a footpath all the way to Egerton Junction. But I'm interested in the city. The reason being, two things. One, cities change all the time. They're always knocking down buildings and putting up more ones, and made of glass and steel and whatever in the name of progress, as they say. And so any remains tend to get trampled, and there aren't that many. But what I wanted to do was find what little ones I can find and get some footage of them and make a video. Another reason being that I'm actually at the site of a hardly known Derby station called Derby Racecourse Station. Now, there was a Nottingham Road station for the racecourse on the Midland line, that's quite well known, but this one on the Great Northern Railway, hardly anyone knows about it. Need to stop meeting like this, and then by the fifth time it's just awkward, isn't it? There's the platform. It's hella overgrown. Now you could just walk down here, lots of people do, walk their dogs. A lad just walked past me then with his dog. But this was the station for what was the Derby Racecourse. Now Derby Racecourse now is just a bunch of football pitches, but it was a massive racecourse with huge stands and a big Victorian pavilion that have long since gone. This station served the racecourse, and there was also a siding where visiting jockeys would load their horses on and off. And the pub just round the corner there is actually called the Paddock, and that is the reason. Although I'm not sure they know that because they've got a picture of a dog on it. But there you go, look, that's the platform. All mega overgrown. But it's quite a long platform, just a single one. There wasn't one on the other side. See where it drops off the top there? That then went onto a massive embankment, skirted right and across the Midland Railway on a massive girder bridge, which is obviously no longer there. Just dropping down there to road level, but it went over the top, and the Paddock pub is just there to the left. Platform's still here, so it's quite a long platform, so you can see, still going. The Great Northern Railway Derbyshire Staffordshire extension was built in 1878. Closed to passengers in 1964, and closed to goods in 1967. Still quite a lot of remains of it outside of the city, but not that many in the city. And I've got an hour or so to kill where I've had to be in Derby because of work anyway. So I thought I'd just come out and get a little bit of footage of what remains I can find. Like I said, I don't think there's many, but I can, from memory, from living in the city, can think of a few. So I'll try and get them for you. So I'm walking down now. You have to come around there because there's a dual carriageway and stuff. So, the city changes all the time. But that station, the racecourse station, Derby Racecourse Station, there's hardly any information on it. In fact, I couldn't even find out when it opened and closed. But I'm assuming it closed in 1939 because that's when the racecourse went. So that would make sense. But this racecourse, what they did, there's a huge pavilion and stuff, big stands. They incorporated that into the cricket ground, and apparently, I was reading, it actually remained part of the cricket ground, Derbyshire cricket ground, until it became so just dilapidated and dangerous, essentially. They knocked it down in the early 2000s, which is a bit of a sickener, so that's gone. But Derby County Football Club, the team I support, they played there up until 1895, and there was even an England international game on that racecourse, England international football game. So it was quite, a significant place back in Victorian times, but Now, like I say, it's just kind of community football pitches and like a play area and stuff like that. So that's the racecourse now. So you can see those, you can just make out those floodlights in the distance. That's the Derbyshire cricket ground now. But this was where they used to do horse racing. And that's what that station served. We come across, and we'll have to find our way across the Midland Railway. Okay, so we've skirted round because there aren't any remains at all. That's just an industrial estate that's taken it all up, gobbled it all up. We're coming up to a Midland Railway bridge now, so I'm just going to show you an image just so that you can get the location in your head. Okay, so that view there, the Great Northern went across there on a major girder bridge, and if I just put in a little bit of footage now shown from the train, so it's coming from the train there on that girder bridge looking back at this bridge. And one thing you'll note as well is there's 3 lines there on the Midland line, but in this footage there's a bucket load. So come across, going back in that direction, you've got Derby Midland Station. Excuse the sound, obviously I'm on a main road here, but that's where the railway came across. The railway had a relatively short life really, as a lot of them did, to be fair. But when the Great Northern built this line, they got permission to do it because they got a lot of support from the Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire I'll let that go by, coal companies, because at that point the Midland Railway had the monopoly on all these colliery lines, so basically they could kind of demand the price really, you know, they could set the terms. So by getting the Great Northern in there through an Act of Parliament, then obviously there's a bit of competition, and competition's always good because then they're kind of, you know, trying to compete against each other, and that would, you know, bring the prices down for those coal mine owners. See, with a line like this, the trick really is you look at those old houses, obviously it's not there, so it's the modern houses, because this one here on the corner is older as well, so you can see how these lines come across. Okay, so I'm skirting around the track bed. I'm just going to show you this house. It's had a big extension on it since, but you'll see in a bit of footage that's actually taken, let me just come around to this little gap here, I don't want to film in someone's house, but over the back there's a row of trees, and that was the track bed, and nothing remains of that. I have gone over there to have a look, but on this video the footage is taken from that, and you can see the other side of that house. So that's basically the track bed there through those modern houses, and it comes across here, and again just nearly fell over. There's your clue, straight through modern houses. Obviously these weren't here, this was a big embankment, and once again on this video, which I need to use quite a lot of to kind of let you know exactly where you are, you can see the back of these houses, these terraced houses. Obviously the remains are really sparse, but that's why I kind of wanted to do it, because obviously with a city, you know, it's always been redeveloped over and over again. What little remains we can find, you know, won't necessarily be there in 5 years time or 10 years time, so I'm just trying to kind of, you know, get them on film. Okay, so if you look back there, that's a large embankment. It would have been coming past here up to our first proper real, you know, real significant remain of this railway in the city. Obviously it's higher because this was an embankment, but we'll clamber up and we get to this beautiful girder bridge over the River Derwent, up onto the bridge. Now this area to the right of where I'm walking is Darley Park. That's always been a park. It was part of the Evans family estate, big industrialist. It was given to the city when the family kind of died out, I think. And then over here, they're modern houses now, but they were, you know, factory after factory after factory all the way into the actual sort of city centre down through there. But look at that beautiful bridge. It would have thundered across here, double track. So you've gone from an embankment behind us onto this, and then straight then into a cutting, which we'll walk up, and then that's where, you know, we're gonna have to really start searching for little bits and bobs, real kind of subtle remains hiding. Shouldn't be this out of breath. Okay, so we're climbing up now, because obviously the cutting's all been filled in. Coming away from that bridge, and you can see straight away those blue bricks, which are synonymous with the Great Central, Great Northern, and, you know, basically kind of any railways around the East Midlands, to be fair. So let's have a look there. That was a cutting. It came out of there and then went straight under another one. Obviously that's all been filled in now into a garden of some description, but when I first moved here, this was still a bit of a cutting, not you know, all the way down to where track level was, but certainly more than it is now. But it basically just went straight through and then straight under again. So there you go, there's the blue brick, you see. And there's that retaining wall, which you'll see quite a lot of in the city, that particular style. So the railway goes straight under there and it came out again, but obviously there's houses. But if you look through here, you can see that wall again in the distance, that same style. So it's a deep cutting, and these are obviously all modern buildings, which is always a clue, like I say. Okay, so once again we've got a clue. These are new builds. The ones beyond it are not. These aren't. These ones are. So the railway's cut straight through there, under this road, and obviously they filled that in and built property on it. Again, there is the odd bit of blue brick there. And if I look over the other side, again, just little clues. It would have gone under the road, under those houses, in a cutting. Obviously those houses are recent. And once again, there's that wall again. Let me just focus that. There you go, you see that wall. So I've just walked down one of the streets called North Street, and then on that you had North Close and then North Parade. So, you know, whether they're named that because of the Great Northern, I don't know. We are in, you know, the sort of northeast side of Derby, so it's probably just that, but it could be connected. You never know. It's not one of those things that I think I'll ever be able to find out, to be honest. Came through there, then under these, and don't be fooled by that, that's modern. The other side of that, you've got a beautiful old building which was a school, which will show up on the map when I show old maps, but this, although it looks amazing, is actually relatively new, you know, maybe 5-10 years if that. And again, there's another clue. If you look at King Street, you can just see part of the bridge. So there you go, real subtle. And if you look up there, you can just about make out an old advert in the brickwork. I'll try and get a better view. The railway carried on through there. There you go, look at that. What's that? Levers or Lavers? Morning Glory coffee. Wake up to morning glory. It's got a new meaning now, that. But this was a cutting. And if you look round here, that road, this road wasn't there. So the railway went straight down past this old building, just that I'm pointing at now, there. Just make sure I'm actually pointing at it. That was a mill. All this stuff here, although it kind of looks nice with the red brick, it's modern. The railway line went straight across there. And like I say, this bridge wasn't here. Road wasn't there, sorry, not bridge wasn't there. The road wasn't there. That was just all part of the cutting. So I'm skirting around that because it's just all built on now. And I know an area because I work down the street a couple of days a week. In a studio just opposite the BBC there. In the car park you can see that retaining wall again. You just see that wall there, just beyond those cars. That was the one that was at the side, at the top rather, of the cutting. Now it's coming at the side of a huge viaduct across the city known as Derby City Viaduct. Obviously I'm having to kind of, you know, put maps and old images and old video footage on top of this to really try and give you a picture. So the railway goes across there on a big viaduct. This is called Willow Row, and that was all one street. That's Willow Sports Centre, that. And this was Willow Row, and all the way across here, this road wasn't there. So the viaducts went across here, and if you look, see, because this road was here, again, blinking you'd miss it. But this is where the line came across, so they've obviously lowered the road ever so slightly here so it could get under the bridge or under the arches. And then it went across here, just wasteland now, in a car park. These houses obviously were there, and it went straight through where those trees are, all on a viaduct, of which I've managed to find some really good footage. So I'll put that on now so you can see a train actually coming towards us.
towards the end of its life in 1959 and saw it out to the end. Curiously, these were the product of the son of the Great Northern's H.A. Ivett.
Okay, so I'm on Friar Gate now, right in the heart of the city, coming up to Derby Friar Gate station. It was meant to be built as like a first-class railway station to compete with Derby Midland, which if you look at Derby Midland now, it's grim. Horrible glass thing, but it used to be dead nice. So they were trying to make a first-class station to really compete with that, you know. And then they ran out of money, as they do. It was still pretty grand, but nothing like what they wanted. That's an arch from that viaduct. Came across from where we've just been and joined the Friar Gate bridge. Look at that. I don't think the cob shop's original. Round there, I mentioned this before on other videos, those arches were the inspiration for Flanagan and Allen's Underneath the Arches song. Up there, at the top there is Friar Gate station. I'm going to try and get around and get in if I can, because I used to be able to get in it regularly. Like I would go up there and just sort of chill out on the platform and stuff. And then I tried to make a video, I think it was like my second or third video I'd done. I tried to get in there and sort of make a really cool video on Friar Gate station, only to be told, you know, computer says no, you can't get in. I don't think you can now either, but there are some on the other side of it, so I'll try and get a look at some of those remains. That was the entrance. That's where you went in and up, subway up to the top there, and that's where the station buildings were on the top. Look at that.
Richard's Jaguar XK150S stands by the ornate Friar Gate Bridge, which survives today, a monument to the line which closed in September 1964, the last train being headed by our train engine, 43160. Even the trolley buses are history now. On the train we cross the Friar Gate Bridge and head northwest out of the city. 1960s housebacks set the tone.
Let's skirt around now, again, fences, you know, and barbed wire and all that sort of stuff. There's an old, I don't know if it's an engine shed, but there's an old, you know, goods shed and stuff, bonding warehouse. It's all listed, it's just a shell, but you know, obviously where it's listed they can't knock it down, thankfully. I wish they'd just do something with it, but maybe they are, do you know what I mean? Maybe that's why I can't get in. Okay, so pigeons just escaped from Alcatraz. There you go. So you can just see the bridge coming over. The station buildings were all on top of there. But as you can see, you can't get to it now, unfortunately. So there are a few remains around the other side that you can get kind of close to. And then beyond the station, there are some old bridges and stuff. I used to live around there, so we'll go and take a little look at them. Okay, so there's that workshop. So you used to be able to climb up. And there's another one through there. You just see that. We'll come around the other side of that in a minute. It's all overgrown, but this didn't have, well, one, it didn't have the fences, but it also didn't have, you know, all the stingers and stuff. It was just a hill that was kind of worn out a bit, where people were always going. There you go, excuse the wind, but that survived, and it's on Great Northern Road as well, so that's a little point to it. Again, so there would have been an entrance as well, but that's all shut off and all. So I'll just follow it up. Now, that chimney you can see in the distance there, the one with all the, you know, 4G and 3G and stuff on it. Oh, hang on a minute. Right, so I have found a path in. No idea what I'm going to find here, to be honest though. So I'll just clamber up to this bit here and see what I can find. I won't go through any barbed wire fences or anything like that, but this was just a walkway in. Clearly not the first person to be here. Let's have a look. Nettles, as always. Right, so I can get closer then. Okay, here we go then. Look at that. So that looks great. That looks great, look at that. I'll have a look then, because all these fences are down. So let me have a little butcher's look and see what I can find then. If any of you have ever been to Windsor Station, not Windsor and Eton Riverside, but Windsor Town, Windsor Central, whichever it's called, the one that the single line just comes in from Slough, they've kind of, you know, there's that one single line, but then the rest of it, they've just, you know, repaired it and made it look great. There's a train sat in there that, you know, kind of just, you know, almost celebrates what it was, you know. But I don't see why they can't do that here. Do you know what I mean? Do this up, have shops and stuff like that, and then on the platforms, you know, have, you know, restaurants and bars and chairs sitting outside. Do you know what I mean? Like that'd have been a great idea in my view. But so I'm stood on the platform now. If you look down, there's the edge of the platform there. Got loads of midges around me. It's just overgrown to hell. There's just nothing here now. Nightmare. Nightmare. So I'll walk down off the platform. I'll level with you. I stopped filming when I was trying to sort of look around the platform area, because when I looked into the overgrowth, like the trees and stuff, there's loads of homeless folk there with all their kit, like all their sleeping bags and stuff like that, and I thought, I ain't filming that, like they don't need me coming around poking a camera in their face. So I've skipped down and back onto the road. This makes you think that was crazy, like, you know, I said earlier about that Flanagan and Allen song, Underneath the Arches, about the arches underneath Friar Gate station. That song was about the homeless people that were sleeping under there during the Great Depression, to stay out of the rain and stuff. And now here we are, what, 2023, and you've got homeless people sleeping in the overgrowth, you know, under the cover of trees, on the platforms. You know, it's nothing changes, does it? That's a nice little touch there. Look, a little throwback track. Chimney's still there. Jeez, look at that. You got enough masters on it, mate. As I said, I'm scratching my leg. Got a bit stung again from going in there. As I said earlier, like this closed to this line close to passengers in '64, close to goods in '67. And when it first opened, I think they had a bit of a promise, the Great Northern, that there were other lines coming in from, you know, from the other side, coming over from Kingsway and stuff, that were going to use this line, use this station, and bring obviously more traffic. And it never, for whatever reason, it never worked out. Okay, so that's Parcel Terrace, still called that now, and it was called it all the way back then. This is Uttoxeter Old Road, and we're going up now to the bridge over the top of what was the Great Northern Railway. When you look at the old maps, the lines all came through underneath here, and some came off into different factories and workshops and towards Parcel Terrace. So I don't know if, you know, there were lines there to pick up mail and stuff. I would assume that there would be. Here's the bridge. The wind's pretty dodgy at the top here, but you see those old houses. That school kind of blocks the view, but obviously straight through there is Friar Gate station and that warehouse that we've just taken a look at. And then back that way, straight under there. And this was all factories. Steelworks, ironworks, you know, the lot. And then it would go straight on through to Egginton Junction and then on to Burton. I'll walk round this, down Slack Lane. You can't get in there, so obviously, you know, well, there's no reason to get in there, it's just a car park. With no remains, unfortunately. But there are a couple more, so there's two more bridges that I know of. So I'll not get run over. So I'll take a look at those two, and then that'll be us. Yeah, that street there, Findon Street. That's where I lived. I lived in a couple of streets around here, actually. But that was, yeah, I was there for a couple of years. I liked it around here, to be honest. Like, the pubs are like spit and sawdust, which is, you know, that's my sort of bag, that. And it's also close to the city centre, but also far enough out that, you know, no one would be dropping kebab wrappers in your front garden or whatever. Not that you've got a front garden in a terrace, but you get my point. And then my wife was pregnant with our firstborn, and I could hear this commotion outside about 7 in the morning. So I've leant out the window, neighbours leant out the window. What's going on? There's a lady across the road, absolutely off her face, right? 7 in the morning. Bearing in mind, she'd moved out about 6 months before, right? So she's so off her face on whatever she was off her face on. She's trying to get into her old house, but she don't live there anymore. This guy, obviously another guy does. So the other guy's saying, no, this isn't your house anymore, like, go away. So she smashes the window, and obviously then I've looked out and gone, oh, it's got a bit real now. So poor guy's terrified, 7 in the morning, he's got some drunk woman trying to get in his house. So me and the other lad, right, well, we'll phone the police. So phone the police, they sent a couple, they're pretty quick to be fair. So she's there, and they're obviously saying, you know, you've broken this guy's window trying to get into his house. Then she pulled a knife out of her bra. Well, who carries a knife in their bra? But she pulled a knife out on these 2 coppers. And I remember just turning around to my wife, I was like, I think we should move. I think we should get out of the city. And so we did, moved out into the sticks, and I've never looked back, apart from then. Tiny basketball pitch. And then right here is that bridge, just hiding away in the trees. Most people probably don't even know it's here. But they filled that. Oh no, they haven't filled that in at all actually. They've just kind of, you know, blocked it off with some fencing and a bit of concrete. But you can see, if you start there, so there's one track I would say. I'd say that's a couple of tracks, that one, and then another one there. So you've probably got 4 lines coming through here. But you know, as I said, it's a main line. I don't fancy that in shorts, folks. But there you go. See that bridge, and then you've got the blue brick at the top. Easy for you to say. The railway went straight through there, following that line. Did a quick slam dunk on the way. So I'll keep walking on. It kind of ends here. You can clamber a bit, and then it just gets to an industrial estate where there's nothing. Now, just on the outskirts of Derby, that's the Kingsway. Dual carriageway, that. It's always hella busy. And people that are local that know how busy that is probably wouldn't believe it, but this was the original Kingsway, this. And this is where we're going to find that little bit of railway. Infrastructure, not railway. Don't get you excited. How great would that be though? Do you know what I mean? Just found a bit of railway suddenly. I don't know, I've missed that. In that little gap down there, it's all industrial estate and a soft play, which I've been to, which is how I know there aren't remains, because I've been down there. I hate soft plays, me. Other people's kids just running around dead boisterous, smacking into your kids, and you turn around like, is anyone going to do any parenting? And you know, the mums and dads are just sat on their phone like, well, their kids are running amok. And you feel like you can't say anything because it's like they're not your kids, so you don't want to tell them off, but at the same time, go away. But anyway, there's a soft play down there. That's been inside me for a bit, that, innit? I just let that out. Not a fan of soft plays, but obviously my little ones love them. So, you know, every week off we trundle. So you can hear the Kingsway, so you can hear how busy that is. Oh, hang on, there's a couple of butterflies there flirting. So there she is, blue brick. Just sat there. And that's all that remains. Obviously the other side would have been, you know, here, double track, but that's obviously long gone into the Kingsway, dual carriageway. But at least there's something left. I'll have a little look down, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing on the other side. It's just all been filled in. Oh, hang on. I might have been telling fibs then. Ooh, when you get across. Oh, there's tiny, tiny bits. Ooh, hang on. There we go. So there is a bit. There is a bit. There you go, look. So let me come down a bit further. Hang on, here we go. Underneath the arches. There you go. So that's where the railway went. Right, let me just skirt past this shopping trolley. That's the industrial estate, and I'll try and get a decent shot so you can kind of see how it would have been. So there you go, double track, main line off to Burton, through there. Let's have a look at the other side. It's a pretty wide bridge, isn't it? You can see. And there's the other stanchion, the other side. It's kind of more buried, that one. But there it is. Woo woo! And underneath, anyone's ever clambered down there, but I ain't getting through there. So that's all from me. Not many remains, a few. Obviously Friar Gate Station's the big one, and I'm glad I managed to get in there and get a close look, you know, at that bonding shed and stuff like that. But in terms of the platforms and stuff, I kind of got done by the summer and the fact that everything's overgrown, and also, you know, there's a lot of people there that have really fallen on hard times, and like I said earlier, I'm not going to film them because that's just wrong in my view. So third time lucky with that one, because I tried the first time, couldn't get in, it was blocked off. Second time could get in, but everything's overgrown because it's, you know, towards the end of July. So what I'll do, third time lucky, I'm getting in there. So maybe October, November, or you know, February, March, you know, when everything's kind of chilled out a bit, I'll get back in there. It will happen, it's the thing. But we did get to see the old platform for the old Derby Racecourse station that no one knew about really. You know, I certainly didn't till not long ago. And then obviously no remains across the Midland line. That huge bridge is no longer there, obviously. But we kind of got a few little bits and bobs in the city. Got that beautiful girder bridge in Darley. And then as you go through, there's, you know, a few little stanchions and abutments and that retaining wall that we kind of, you know, that followed the route through the city. Friar Gate Station, and then we've got those two bridges, and then obviously then just the top of that bridge there, and also there was a little bit underneath it that I didn't know was there. So that was a bit of a result for me. As I've said before, the other way, that's the Great Northern Greenway. We'll do that, and we'll have a look at Morley Tunnel, and you can pretty much, to be fair, get, you know, if you don't mind, I'll wear trousers. If you don't mind getting stung, you can kind of get pretty much into Nottingham really, or at least the outskirts of the city. So we'll do that, and then the other way, it's a proper route all the way out to Eggington Junction, which is not far from my brother's house. So I just got to make an excuse to say, do you fancy a pint? And then I'll walk, you know, a few miles, and we'll get some decent footage of that. I'll start where I left off there, and we'll go all the way to Eggington Junction, so I can just complete this line, and I'll do it the other way as well. I've been talking to Phil, and a friend of Phil's as well that knows it very well. So I think the three of us are going to do that bit over towards Amsworth and that, which will be great. It's a bit weird walking without Phil. How you doing, Phil? I've only, like I said, I had an hour in the city. I've been working in the studio, so I kind of thought, you know, I'll get out and try and get this done while I'm here, and it's a nice day. As always, click like, subscribe, comment. If I've missed any of the remains in the city centre, please let me know, because these are the ones I know from spending, you know, best part of a decade living in the city centre. They're the ones that I know, but you know, I don't claim to be the fountain of knowledge, so I've certainly, almost certainly missed something. So please comment and let me know if I have. Till the next time, I'll see you later.